there was not a large impetus for collaboration. Right, FBI was focused on what FBI was. CIA was focused on what CIA was. Keep in mind too, CIA was small before 9/11.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how much the 9/11 Commission impacted hiring at FBI.
It did. It pumped it up pretty good, and it also moved us into that world where I think I said it before. The broken toys went to counterterrorism, an organization. Oh my God, the dude's not coming to work. He's not doing it. You know what?
Right.
Send him over to CT. In the meantime, we got basically memos saying, hey, there's dudes down in Arizona that just want to learn how to. They don't care about taking off or flying or landing.
I can see the comments.
Yeah,
right now.
63 pages, So anyway.
So that was pre 9/11. So then 9/11 happens. Everybody sees what happens at 9/11, right? And then when the 9/11 Commission report investigation starts, and 9/11 Commission starts, now they start picking up the scraps on the floor, and they start saying, "Hey, FBI said this, CIA said this. They sent it to each other. Neither side actually read it. Like if the average person understood how incredibly administrative and mundane the life is of a CIA or FBI officer, they would immediately reject it and turn on Netflix and watch the next spy movie, right? It is an incredibly dull, boring, detail-oriented life, which is why you keep hearing Jim refer back to systematic, meticulous, because you have to be meticulous. You have to be systematic. 300 intel reports could come in from each side, and there's one nugget, one thread that ties 5 of them together. The only way you see that is if you meticulously comb through each one. And they're written in completely different formats with completely different acronyms, completely different languages, not to mention the fact that when CIA sends FBI a memo, the FBI analyst has to compare that against all the other new FBI memos that came in the same day and justify why he's reading one memo over another to his boss. It's not an excuse. It's a reality of what existed before 9/11. And then on top of that, you had multiple different times. You have Cold War culture permeating. Our big enemy was the Soviet Union still, because don't forget the Soviet Union fell in, 91?
Yep.
Yeah.
So, and then the Soviet states fell apart, and we were like, oh, what are we going to do now? It was the beginning of the global war on terror. So the world was a very, very different place in 2001 when this happened.
What do you mean it was the beginning of the global war on terror?
2001 was the beginning of the
I thought you
global
said
war.
91.
Well, no,
Sorry,
talking
I missed
about the
that.
fall of
Okay.
the Soviet
Yes.
Union and really how many agents and operate,
You had 10 years there where we were basically enemy and target lists. What are we going to focus on? We're going to focus on crime. We're going to focus on, I guess, collecting.
Got it.
Yeah,
right?
so I mean, that all went away. Like at one point in time, New York office, 1,200 agents in the New York office. 1,000 of them were working, spy stuff, wandering around the streets following. And that was a good way to kind of, Russian spies. I mean, we had the Soviet Union, we had the Soviet bloc. We needed to do that, we thought. Let everything else go. And that's happened through the course of the Bureau. That's happened over time, too. We've had directors, Bob Mueller came in, Comey came in with their different, hey, we don't work organized crime. We think we really did a great job on that. It's over.
It's over.
Okay. Yeah, that's not going
Mission
on anymore.
accomplished. Remember Bush? Yeah.
But it's just kind of, mission accomplished. But that's kind of, I think the other thing is our solution to the failure to connect dots together was to change our reporting system. So, okay, we need to put in a new system that allows people to search. That's not what it is.
Yeah.
It's basically putting analysts side by side with both the agency and us and trying to get down to the facts. Get a system down. Get your operations down. Get your system down so you understand when something comes in, how it flows, and how to be efficient, how to be effective, to get the information out to people who are doing the interrogations, doing the interviews, doing the search warrants, convincing U.S. Attorney's Office that this is important. And here's the reasons why, because we've corroborated with the agency. They've corroborated with us certain facts. We got it ass backwards. Oh, no, we just need a new $170 million computer system. No, you don't, because if no one knows what to do with it, it doesn't really matter.
And we're gonna pay Deloitte to tell us that we need that.
Exactly.
And then we're gonna
get the big.
And then
That's
we're gonna pay Microsoft to build it custom for us.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And by the way, Deloitte has the guys that left the bureau because they saw it coming and said, you know what? I'll just be a consultant for Deloitte on this project.
Yeah.
And I'll make $1 million as opposed to 171, 268, 39 in a good year, if the budget was continuing. But
You
seriously,
say that number in your sleep. I can tell.
yeah,
Like sometimes you're saying.
I cruised past that. I was at 172 something. But,
You were up there.
oh, cranking.
Moving along.
Cranking.
But like, what did you guys have? With obviously that's good color commentary on, I guess, like the way that the approaches need to mesh. But when you guys did suddenly start entering all kinds of missions with each other internationally, right? Like I'm focused on the war on terrorism right now after 2001. Like, it always seems to me when I'm reading these stories or reading a book of someone recounting it, that like the overlap is you guys are all kind of doing the same thing, even though you're coming from technical different expertise in a way, like cop spies supposed to be. It seems like, for example, like the Al Zubaydah thing, when you had Kiriako in here talking about it, like they're all the FBI and CIA. Like if you were just someone looking on the street and like trying to evaluate who's wearing what uniform, you wouldn't even know without the letters on their back.
So yeah, I mean, there's significant differences to somebody who knows what to look for. But you're right, to the average bobblehead out there,
To me, yeah. There you go.
they're not going to know the difference between us, right? If you saw me and Jim, if we're doing our job right, you're going to underestimate both of us and just walk by us both, right? You're going to be like, handsome old guy, handsome hairy guy, and you're going to move on with your life.
Yep.
In an ideal world. I don't think they give us handsome though.
No, definitely not.
But
That's very true.
But
though.
that's how we want to look. That's how we want to look to the average bobblehead, like we're nothing. It's what we want. The thing is, once you actually know how the two sides work, once you can identify the culture or the personality differences or the unique aspects of each of us in that way, it becomes more clear, right? There's a certain edge to FBI officers because they deal with the scum of the universe in their own country, right? Every time they go head to head against an American criminal, like it's a personal affront because this is an American citizen who they're sworn to protect, who's now like threatening them and threatening the country they stand for. For us, we never go head to head with an American scumbag. Our scumbags are all foreign scumbags who really we want to use to gain an edge for the American people. So we kind of want to enable them to continue being scumbags. Completely different mentality. So we are much more conniving and manipulative. They are much more like direct and in your face. They're law enforcement. They have a badge and a gun, and they're not afraid to use either one. For us, we intentionally want to hide everything we have until the last possible moment. So
But
when you get to know us, you'll see the difference fast.
The FBI did move a little bit more towards intelligence gathering.
That was smaller. I mean, that was
Right.
9/11 driven. You know,
Okay.
we had to. But I will still say, now I don't know what's happened in the last 5 years, but I will still say that our intel collection and the analysis process still has a long way to go. You know, we still rely too much on flipping checks, looking at accounts, and looking at things to say, oh yeah, we're going to be able to take this information and then turn it into questions. Where the agency's amazing at taking as much as they can out of the person who they can turn and manipulate and do what they need to do in order to gain and garner the information. That benefits us too. Now, some agents are really good at source development. So some people don't even, they never look at a checking account. They never look at the money. They just grind the guy out until they get what they need. But it's not I wouldn't say it's across the board that we're really good at asset development. Where these guys, they're masters.
Right. So like FBI has a lot of duties, of which one is counterintelligence. CIA, we are an intelligence organization, of which no part of our organization is law enforcement, right? Again, getting into the administrative minutia that nobody cares about, we're given the executive branch gives us different authorities to operate in different ways, intentionally, so that if we want to maximize our operations, we have to work with FBI. And if FBI wants to maximize their operational utility, they have to work with us because we are granted different authorities to do different types of things. And both of us really want to work with Department of Homeland Security. And both of us really want to work with NSA because they have different authorities that we don't have, right? It's like when you give your kids all one cookie to make sure that nobody gets to eat all dozen cookies kind of thing.